Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thanks for tuning in and thank you for liking, commenting and subscribing. If you're watching this video and you have not subscribed, please kindly do so. It would be really appreciated. First and foremost, you are watching and learning sessions with Othembisile and Apple, and this is like our second segment. And on today's topic, we are going to be discussing the things that I've had to unlearn regarding God, the perceptions that I had about him when I was growing up and the perception that I have of him now. So yeah, we can start this video. Yeah, so growing up, we had this perception of God because our parents, most of the time when they told us about God, they described him or put him out as a person who is constantly mad or angry or a punisher, a superstar who's always mad. And if we were naughty, we were always told to go to God doesn't like children who are naughty. So therefore, when we grew up, we had a certain perception of him, and now that we are older and we have a better relationship with him, we kind of like know what's normal. Actually, Ngonyama is a cool dude. He's not what he was made out to be. And I think that's just all of us. We just need to know God for yourself. If you only know God from somebody else's opinion, then you have really not experienced God. So I'm just going to be sharing with you guys my normal moments that I had that really changed my life and made me to relate to God in a more better way and relatable way. And the first one was that he's not an angry God. I think I've mentioned that one. He is not an angry God. When the Bible in Psalms 103 talks about God as a God who is compassionate, works, and actually let me open it so that I don't misquote it, but I think it says he walks more in love and he's compassionate, and he is slow to anger. Yeah, let me just leave it. He is slow to anger. And when somebody is generally slow to anger, it means that obviously they are hardly ever angry. The things that make him mad, or he chooses not to be angry quick because he's very patient with us. So when you know him for yourself, you get to realize, man, this person is hardly ever angry. Instead, he walks more in love than anger. He's very patient with us. He's very understanding, and very loving. And the second thing that I learned is that he is more of a friend than anything else. John 15:15 talks about we are no longer slaves but friends of God. And whenever I read such verses, there's also another one. I'm not sure if it's in Matthew or something, but it says, come to me as a friend. Whenever God describes himself as a friend, or that we can relate to him as a friend, I always picture the kind of relationship I have with my friends. It's so crazy, it's free, it's transparent, it's free. That these people are not going to judge me. It's comfortable more than anything. So when a person says come to me as a friend, that alone shows you that he's less formal. You can't always be formal when you come to him, because we are hardly ever formal with my friends, with our friends. I mean even with my friends, I'm hardly ever formal. When we're together, it's just always craziness. We're loud, we're transparent, and that's how I think my relationship with God is. I'm hardly ever formal with him. Now and again I ngiyabungonyama and be like, hey dude, can't just give up on my words. Where's my person? Because I need some cuddling, I need some loving and all of that. But I'm just trying to put it out there that God, you can go to God. How you see your friends, you can see God as a friend as well. But he's just obviously more sovereign and more big and more humongous and amazing, of a person, that we can't really even relate him to our friends. But I'm just trying to show the kind of relationship that you can have with him. He's hardly ever formal. And the third thing was that he is not a petty God. Like he will not punish us or do mean things to us. Bad things aren't happening to us in our lives because God is angry at us or because we have not done certain things like tithing, you know. Like God is not that petty that he would punish you because you didn't follow certain commands or because you didn't offer faithfully. I mean, how do you go from giving your son to the world because you love the world and then drastically changing to a person who and drastically changing to being a person who kills somebody else's child just because they didn't offer faithfully or they didn't give tithes this month? You know, he's not petty. The Bible also says that he loves us unconditionally. Therefore, listen, what we do, what God tells us to do is more our benefit than for him. So when we don't do what he says, what he advises us to do, it comes back. He's a sharamabonda. It's not on him, you know. So it maybe what it does to him, it hurts him because he eventually knows the end goal of what will happen if you don't listen to what he says, you know. But for him to be petty about it and actually kill your mother or you know, so also this is just for somebody who thinks bad things are happening in their lives because they did something bad and God is like really punishing them. Like, no, he's not that petty. Like he's not that person. When you ask for forgiveness, he's faithful and just to forgive you. There's a verse in Timothy. There's a verse in Timothy that says God remains faithful in our lives even when we remain unfaithful. And that's pretty much the type of person that he is. I think even when he wants to like be angry sometimes, he really can't, you know. So he's not a petty God. He doesn't let bad things happen in our lives because he's punishing us. So if that's the perception you have of him, please no, just get to know him for yourself, you know. And the other thing that I've learned that he is for the whole world and not for a certain group of people. He is for all of us. There is nobody who is not immune to have a relationship with God. We are all allowed to come to him. We are all just worthy. Yeah, man. So everybody is just worthy to be in God's presence. Everybody is worthy to have a relationship with God. Nobody is more perfect than the other one. Nobody is more deserving than the other one. In his eyes, we are all the same. You know, we are all the same. That's why it's probably we feel certain things are unfair and they are happening to some people and to us sometimes. But to God, we are all equally important. We are all equally his children. So he's not for a certain group or for a certain people or for a certain class. It's just to him, we are just the same. And then the other one is that prayer is just a conversation. The way I'm having this conversation right now is pretty much how you can have a conversation with God. You know, he's easy like that. You don't have, there's no standard way of approaching him. Like so there's a formal way. Of course, I think other days can be formal, but other days can be casual as well. Approach him. I always say approach him in the mood and the emotion that you're in, because you'll be more sincere then than you trying to be formal when actually you just want to be casual, or when you want to be casual but you actually want to be formal, you know. So the emotions and the ambience and the mood that you're in that particular time you feel like praying is the emotion that you should use, you know, to approach him. You know, some days, because I'm funny. There's days where you'll be like really ecstatic and you'll be like, hey God, this is happening in my life. Thank you so much. And then there are days where you'll be like, oh, bro, life is hard. What's happening? You know, and you read his word and you get reminded of his promises and all of that. So it differs, because you can't always be going to God crying. I mean, it's impossible. There's days where we are grateful and we are just content and we are just happy about life and we're happy about just being alive. Especially in these days of COVID, I think all of us, we are so grateful to be alive. We've taken life for granted for the longest time now and again. But man, diabua. And the last one is that he loves us unconditionally, man. He loves us in our imperfections. He loves us as we strive towards perfection. He's gonna love us in every season of our lives, you know. Ayikho isizini esindlula kuyo where God is actually excluded, but He's in every mess that you think. God is not in it in your life. He is part of it, and He loves you. And just to wrap it up, this of course is not everything that I've shared, and how casual you can approach God is not a way of me saying you can live anyhow and you can do anything and you can just live your life recklessly, because God's love is just unconditional and His grace is sufficient. We know that's not how we do it. A wise person would know that's not what I mean. But what I actually mean is that when you realize God's grace in your life, that alone will be enough for you to realize why it is important for you to actually listen to Him, for you to actually follow His commands, for you to actually follow His instructions, you know, because He's just so sovereign, He's just so great, and He's just so awesome, you know. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Thank you so much for watching and learning sessions. I hope you learned something. I hope you got something. Please also share your moments.